right spot, or should I go somewhere else?
No. You're in a very good spot. Unless you want to sit, next to Kelsey or between Amel and Kelsey, because I think that's also a good one.
Yeah, you can move a bit.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a nice display.
Nice and warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'll just jump on here. Okay, guys, just for the sake of time, I think we should start. If Alan joins us, it would be great. It's very unlike Alan to be late, but I'd assume there will be a very valuable explanation. Well, first of all, welcome again to the Connect Club. I hope everyone had a good new year. Few housekeeping rules for our new members is this is Friday NFT Show on Connect Club, the best news show in the metaverse. So today I am delighted to have a very diverse, very exciting panel of our hosts who will introduce themselves now. If anybody wants to at any point come on a stage, ask any questions or share your opinion on any news that we will be looking at today, sharing today, reviewing today, by all means use the stage button on your panel below, and we will welcome you to the stage because your opinion do matter. So first and foremost, I shall ask Amel to introduce yourself. So ladies first, gents.
Okay.
Amel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I will be singing praises here all day long.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Amel. I come from Paris. I come from the architecture and design world, and I created Fumigene, an international art agency 2 years ago. And I decided to create my own curated NFT marketplace beginning of 2021. So it took me 9 months to release it. And I recruited 55 artists, and all of them are creating exclusive artwork for the marketplace with my help. And we are doing a makeover, so that's why it's not online again, but it will come back on Tuesday. And we are welcoming a fashion category in February. So I'm very excited about that. I'm doing a collaboration with a digital fashion week in New York. So I'm really excited about that.
Can I just do one thing, please? I hope co-hosts don't mind. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank
Amel's
you.
birthday today.
Joyeux anniversaire.
Merci beaucoup. Merci. I'm really happy to celebrate it with you today.
Oh, listen, we're not going to ask how old you are because I'm going to get really miserable after that.
I don't mind. I'm 33 and I'm happy to have 33 years old. So.
That's it. I'm getting miserable now. Just make me feel old. Kelsey, hi.
Hi.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, oh my gosh, I just want to say I'm so inspired by what you're working on, and I can't wait to see your makeover on Tuesday, Amel.
Thank you.
I'm in the midst of a makeover as well. I've had an agency for 7 years. We started 8 years ago because there was so much need in the tech space for some people who understood marketing, like, from the big brand world. So I came from beauty, worked at L'Oreal, Revlon, Aveda, and then started my own agency to support the Extreme Tech Challenge to help Bill Tai launch that. And he became kind of like my Yoda and taught me about blockchain and Bitcoin. And I got officially into this space 5 years ago. I'm one of the only women in the world to co-found a cryptocurrency, which was a very cool experience. And as a result, started working on how blockchain tech and these other beautiful things like NFTs, which I got into in 2017, could really help advance women. And I started working with
is here.
Alan!
I told you he will make it. Alan,
Hello,
how are
everybody.
you?
Hi.
I'm great, thank you.
Oh, you don't sound so good. What's happening?
I got the
Was it a
COVID.
heavy one?
I got the
no.
COVID, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, well, it was inevitable.
it is
Oh,
inevitable.
dear,
Someone
dear.
last time had COVID on the show. He didn't go on camera though. This is brave of you, Alan. We're excited to see you.
Ready to go.
Listen, why don't you sit on that chair where I am? Because, you know, you need a bit of a rest.
I'll rest over in this chair here. There we go.
That's it. Perfect. Perfect. Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I know you're working for a very little company, you know, so I think people should know.
All right. Well, first and foremost, so far at least, I'm incredibly humbled to even be sitting around the folks on the stage. Kudos so far, and I know what I'm about to hear from the rest of you is going to blow me away. So hey, I'm Ken. I've been in emerging technology for most of my career, and it's longer than I care to admit out loud, really focusing on how companies and brands find business value through emerging technology. Most recently, I've dipped my toes in the crypto NFT world. I'd say going on 5 years now, when I was working for a charity, trying to figure out how to get value to donors, and from donors using virtual assets. Back then, NFTs weren't the buzzword they are today, and so they were non-fungible tokens, really around digital twins and naming spaces. And really this space caught my interest, and since then I've just been diving in to figure out what are new and interesting ways to play outside of just asset trading and of course the valuation of crypto, but more so how do we create utility to create the best user experiences for people that want to engage with brands and experiences. So that's been the focus for me. Sean, as you mentioned, I came to Nike about a year ago, really focused on audience experience innovation, and that's what got me continuing to dig and learn more.
I'll tell you what, I loved that photo you sent for the stage drop. You look really cool. I told you, I'm stealing that style. I'm loving it.
Yeah, why not, right? It's the metaverse. You could be anything you want to be.
Precisely.
Hey, Ken, I had dinner with some of your colleagues last week, Eric and Ed and Daniel from your innovation team at a CES.
I have to say, you're going to be really unimpressed by me after talking to them.
I'll put it this way, I was really unimpressed by me after talking to them. Wow.
They're a great group.
I sat down for dinner with these guys, and I brought my buddy is a PhD in computer science, and we hadn't even sat down. I didn't even take my coat off, and they were already talking about quantum computing.
I'm always happy to be in the room just to hear it and hopefully learn such a small amount from them.
Yeah, it's nuts. You have a crazy team.
Thank you.
Filip, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So first of all, thanks a lot for the invitation. It's really, really cool to be here. And I think that this is actually how maybe in the future with some kind of shows and conferences looks like. So thanks for the opportunity. So basically, my name is Filip Kollert. I'm in crypto space for 6 years. And last year, like 1 year ago, we have established a company, SWIPELUX, which is basically solving the, I think, biggest obstacle that is right now in massive adoption of NFTs and blockchain games and metaverse, which is basically a complicated entry point. It is really, really hard for crypto people or use SushiSwap and PancakeSwap. So what we have developed is a widget that is basically enabling anyone to buy NFTs, tokens, or any kind of item in crypto with a payment card, with a debit and credit card. So we are making the entry point a bit easier than it is today.
Great. Can I just ask you to move a little bit down, because you kind of, sitting on Ken's lap.
We're hiding him.
Yeah. Alan, how are you feeling? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, for those who don't know you?
Yes, sorry, I was just posting this on LinkedIn to drive people to more people to come. So I guess when I when I go on a different program, it turns off my camera.
It does, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean, and thank you for being for allowing me to be on this great panel with so many awesome people. My name is Alan Smithson. I'm a co-founder at a company called MetaVRse. We named the company that in 2016. And the idea for us was to really just build anything and everything in the 3D, XR, VR, AR space and learn from the industry, learn what was needed, where were the gaps, what was happening. And after doing that for almost 5 years, we acquired another company that had built a game engine on the web, and we put it together and we launched the Metaverse Engine, which is now a 3D game engine. You can try MetaVRse, MetaVRse.com. You can try all the live samples there, and we're actually building a game engine very similar to Unity, but on the web, and you don't require coding to use it. So it's all drag and drop. Super powerful game engine, and we've been building things like medical device training. We've done consumer electronics marketing. We've done virtual worlds, virtual stores. We are working on something we've been working on for about a year now. The concept, anyway, is a virtual mall. Kind of like Decentraland or Sandbox, but more on the kind of professional, photorealistic looking side of things, because what we realized is brands, they'll experiment with things, but ultimately they need it to work with their e-commerce systems. They need everything to be interoperable with their systems. And it's nice to talk about how I can transfer my, avatar from maybe Roblox or from Decentraland to Sandbox or something like that. But the reality is neither one of those formats is going to actually transfer to 3D in the way that they want that. Brands are now, starting to convert their products into 3D. And once they do that, there's a certain format. GLTF is the global standard now. And, we want it to be fully standardized with that. So now when a brand comes to us, wants to have a store in the mall, they can take the assets that they're already using for manufacturing, marketing, sales, training, and they can bring them into the virtual mall as well. So you have this kind of interoperability for enterprise clients. And that's where we really shine, is that we actually made an announcement with Hedera to partner with for our blockchain. And it's not the sexy blockchain for sure, but they are focused on the enterprise, and the needs of our customers in the enterprise definitely diverge a little bit from the needs of the average individual person. So we have to kind of balance that, and that's what we're doing now.
Great. Well, listen, guys, let's just jump into all this exciting news that's been happening in the past week. The life in crypto use cases like Metaverse, NFTs, DeFi is never dull, is it? And I'd like to start gaining your views on what's been happening with the OpenSea competitor LooksRare. I mean, they sold over 100 million of the NFTs a day after launch, and I think right now it's 400 million, isn't it? 3 days after the launch. Ken, what's your view on that?
I knew you were going to pick me first. Well, I think there's two things that really pop out to me, and it's sort of outside of the fundamentals, I believe. So I think ultimately, the first thing is that I think it's really indicative of what a fickle, not a fickle audience, but how fleeting attention is in the space, and how readily folks are willing to leave something that they're really deeply embedded in to go somewhere else. And so for me, it brings up a lot of questions around, is there loyalty to platforms like there once was? It seems like if you're on a Facebook, for example, you're not leaving Facebook. And even if you're trying other platforms, you've always got a toe still in Facebook and fairly decent engagement in both platforms. And I'm not saying that's not happening here. However, the mad rush to get over to a LooksRare seemed really, really interesting to me. And the second thing that occurred to me was, and something that I'm always sort of thinking about when I think about this crypto NFT metaverse thing, is I believe that right now engaging in this space is really difficult. I think you have to know what you're doing. I think your expectation that something, when you click a button, your expectation that what you expect to happen will happen. I don't think anybody's 100% sure that everything's going to work the way that they want to work and how it's going to work. And in the back of my head, I do wonder if people are looking at a new platform like LooksRare and saying, maybe this is a way to make a better experience and have some more of that confidence that I want in a traditional spending capacity. And so both of those things sort of resonated to me when I'm seeing this massive amount of volume move over, how quickly people were running and activating and trusting that the platform would do what they wanted to do, and or looking for something better. That's what came out for me, but I'm super excited to hear everybody else's views.
Kelsey, what do you think? Why people are switching so quickly?
I think it's the obsession with rewards. Like, I think just the fact that LooksRare is offering people, you know, their own sort of reward system versus OpenSea, you know, it's getting so much more expensive, like 2.5% just to mint and then 2.5% at sale. You know, there's a reason they're valued $13 billion. So I think when people see another player and they're offering some sort of rewards, like I think of my friends at Celsius, they've grown like crazy in the past 4 years because they have this reward system and everybody wants to make money on their crypto. This whole obsession with yield and bringing that into this space, I think is what's making it so exciting. To Ken's point too, like people don't have loyalty. They hop so fast. If you look at communities, it's so quick to see how communities will turn on founders. Like look at Pudgy Penguins and they're infighting right now. Like there's just no loyalty because everybody's behind an avatar.
Pudgy Penguins is the thing, for real?
Oh, it's a thing, and it's like it's a huge story in the space because they're all at basically the Discord community is attacking the founders because
do we need another
NFT?
Oh my goodness!
They're like a New York Times featured NFT that went crazy in July, and they're kind of dropping in
This can't even, guys. I can't even. Like, you know, when you can build a community in like a month, that community is not a community. That is just an email list that you bought and drove in. You know, I think this is the problem, is that, you know, people are assuming, oh, we built community because we've got 5,000 people on our Discord server. That's not a community. That's a bunch of people that will turn on you because of the whim of them. You know, it takes years to build a community. It does not take a month. And so I think we're in this kind of irrational exuberance craziness of NFTs where people are buying a JPEG image and assuming there's a community wrapped around a JPEG image. There's not. There's a bunch of people that want to get rich talking together on Discord. And, you know, Discord, I'm actually Discord phobic. Every time I go in there, I feel like everybody's just yelling a bunch of random stuff at it. It's like Slack, but not with people you know, which Slack is already busy enough for my business. And then I go over there and it's like all the red lights go on. I feel like I'm you know, that's not a community. It may feel like it, and they may buy things from you because there's a value to be had in these things. And until we start using NFTs for real value that people can tangibly use and feel like they're getting something out of it, I think there's always going to be these communities that start to flip because they were promised one thing and they're not getting fulfilled out of it. Whatever they promised, maybe they promised great conversations, maybe they promised events, I don't know. But it seems like we're in this kind of crazy time where people are joining Discord servers assuming that this is their lost community, that they want to be part of something bigger. And I get that, but that's not it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think like
go join a community center.
Move to a small town. There you go. Come to Canada.
Right? Go help your neighbors, your actual neighbors. Go outside and shovel someone's snow or something. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah.
I think the community thing is really interesting because we all know that the amount of trolls and the amount of flaming that can occur within a community. So I think there's a lot of, hey, you've got a community built up around my shared interest. And I think people are so likely to turn on you that you can never feel some sense of security. And you're talking about these founders here who come in and they built something they're passionate about and they've done their best to get people involved in this thing. And now the community is turning on them. and it's wait, I built this community specifically around my shared interest, and now I feel like there's no safety or security. That's going to be a big challenging community, I think, for the metaverse, because in real life you have appropriateness and decorum and other people seeing how you're acting and you're out there. And I think that is the roughest part about community. And I agree, you need to start with community, you need to cultivate community. I think form follows function, and so you have no right to try to make money off your community until you find those shared interests and that stability. But I do worry there's never true stability, because in a year you'll get flamed and you'll get pushed out, or you'll get any number of these things. And so how does that really work?
This flame thing is new to me. What does that mean? Sorry.
When you get lit up, when you say something you don't like and the entire community turns on you and bashes you, and you're like, just was
so here's something interesting on that, and thank you for telling me. I've never heard that term. So I've been posting every single day on LinkedIn for, I don't know, 6 years. And yeah, I've pissed off the community once or twice, but I've never had my community ever turn on me. As a matter of fact, they've defended me in many occasions. So I find it very interesting that, you know, maybe they're not really truly building communities. Maybe they just put a bunch of people together and hope that that was a community. And I think there is a difference between jamming a whole bunch of people into a video game. Like, you know, you can have 100 million people in Fortnite. That is not a community. That's maybe the community's within it, but that's just a bunch of people playing a video game. So I think there's I don't know what the answer is here.
The foundation is shaky, right? Like it's built on people trying to do a quick flip and make money, and that's the problem.
Yes,
and I think
that's exactly what I think.
That is the problem. So
a DeFi platform hiding behind an NFT marketplace. Even the design is really poor, and the collection also. For me, it looks like they only want to do money.
It's interesting, you know, the community that I built over sustained time, but with the eyes of, look, I want nothing out of the community. All I want to do is bring knowledge to the community every single day, one post at a time. Something should be useful. And I think there's not a lot of people that think that this may take 5 years, and true value takes a while to create, and you can't just create value overnight, which you can, obviously. I mean, OpenSea and look rare, looks near, looks rare, you know. Creating $400 million in sales in 3 days, that's creating value instantly. I don't know how long that'll last. People are fickle. People will jump on the latest, greatest thing. Where, you know, look at Clubhouse. Clubhouse skyrocketed off the planet, and now I don't think there's anybody even on it. So I don't know. It's we're in exponential growth of everything, and yet if we don't take the time to build the fundamentals and the actual foundations of community through, you know, actual service to the community, I think this is just going to be fly by night, a bunch of stuff, and we're going to see a lot of ICO crashes like we did. You know, it'll be the exact same bloodbath as ICOs 4 years ago. Now
it's going to be worse.
Way worse than that.
It brings me to 7CO was exactly like the same. I think that, and I'm just writing. It's quite funny. I'm just writing an article how easy it is to create and mint NFTs and build, you know, like for 20,000 euros, you can build a big audience, you can build hype about it, and you can potentially like make millions. And I think that like 98 or 97 of these NFTs and JPEGs are like just probably pump and dump. And I really agree that we need to find some kind of fundamental here. And I think that this could potentially be metaverse and blockchain games. So I think that people should really do like their own research and don't follow any kind of like the financial advisors, like the influencers joining, right, and the really famous people joining in the market. So I would be really careful about that. And I think that they've choose the Lux Rare like probably because.
Okay.
I think this is nothing new here. There's nothing new here, Sean. This is just, you know, scammers being scammers. Yesterday, 2 days ago, one of my staff members got an email, very low tech. It was an email apparently from our CEO from their personal Gmail, which wasn't. You know, can you please buy the team some Apple gift cards? They made the mistake of buying it. A couple $1,000s later, they're like, oh my God, what have I done? This is like, you know, African prince style email scams. You know, this is the Centraland instead of the Central Land. These are not sophisticated scams, but yet it's so easy. If you connect your wallet unsuspectingly, all your shit's gone. So there's a scene in Ready Player One where if you lose your shit, you lose your shit, right? Like you lose all your things, and this is where we are. And I don't know any single NFT holder or investor right now who hasn't lost something due to a scam or some sort of CD procedure or simply losing their password. So
Can I ask you something? Since it's
Yeah.
on a blockchain, can you not trace it exactly where it's gone?
Sure you can, but what are you gonna do with that? You're not gonna get your money back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When it's gone, it's gone. Trust me. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those. Like I've been even victim to some really, really good ones where like, you know, because when you're a cryptocurrency, and if you're in a country with heavy regulations, then you have to wait for the exchange to reach out to you. You can't reach out to them first. And there are very sophisticated ways that they can set up to make it look like it comes from a specific email address, etc. So those I get. But what I do not get is when it's like, there's so many red flags. This one in particular we're talking about, Sean, people all over Twitter were like, this is a rug, this is a rug. Like, don't trust it, don't trust it. But it's greed. People get so excited at the idea of making money that they can't help themselves and they start to FOMO like crazy.
I think that's a really great point. And I think one of the biggest issues is the proliferation of the information and the fact that you could think somebody else next to you is going to be making so much more money, and so that FOMO is now it's so much more than it would have been. So information is traveling incredibly quickly. You saw this in the Wall Street bets community where people were starting to do pump and dumps because based on nothing and these penny stocks that were going to never go anywhere. And I think it's going to happen more and more rapidly as people want to get engaged. They don't understand the technology they're getting into. They don't understand how to look at any authoritative resources. And again, it's just going to happen more and more and more, which says that maybe some form of regulation or outlet to understand things is not the worst thing in the world for the general public.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just going to get worse and worse. And I don't know. I don't know how you protect people when they won't listen to experts because they don't recognize those experts as being experts because they're so new to the space.
I think everybody will probably hate me about this and hated me always when I said this, but I think that the only way how to protect the users against these things are just regulations, but like smart regulations. The thing that is coming, like mega regulations, I'm super excited about this from like European Union, and we are following regulations as much as possible. And I just see the difference when you have AML procedures, KYC procedures, and all these stuff. I know that people hate it, but that's the only way how to protect, at least from my perspective, the users. And I would like
completely
to
agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I think it's so important. Like that's why we're getting better adoption. To your point, Filip, like we need it. And big companies like what Ken's doing over at Nike, you know, they're not going to touch the space if it continues to be nefarious and shady. So we need regulation to protect everybody. And it's very frustrating too, though. The companies I feel that follow that, you know, they still can't protect their users from potential scams, like people breaking into Discords. There was a bunch of that happened, you know, before the holidays. There were some hacks in Discord. Justin Khan's company was one of them, and they put up a link to an alleged mint and made like $125,000 off of people. So regulations still aren't going to protect us from that piece, but they'll help against at least people, I hope, like this. It's like, I think, does it come back to education? Alan, like I feel like you got something to say.
Sean, can you put up the Metaverse Manifesto on the screen? Just Google it. So I wrote the Metaverse Manifesto. Well, I published it on January 1. I spent the whole Christmas holidays. I was watching all of this happening, and I'm like, holy shit. If we don't put some ethical guidelines and principles and foundations around this, we're kind of going to ruin this whole thing for everybody. So I wrote this manifesto. Basically what it is just some ethical guidelines and boundaries around, you know, Web3, Metaverse, AI. And one of the things that I was thinking about doing with this, if you scroll down a bit, you know, guiding principles for a better Web 3.0,
By the way,
there's-
sorry, pardon for interrupting. Everybody in the audience, if you want to see it better, all you need to do is just tap on the screen above us, and it will fill up on your phones, so you don't have to zoom in or try to see what's going on the screen. Yeah, sorry, Alan.
no, that's cool. I didn't. That's neat. See, look at that. Learn something, or you can just pinch and zoom too.
You can pinch and zoom, but if you tap on it, it will just fill up your screen, and then you can just basically minimize it again.
I have to give a quick shout out to Connect Club because this is pretty awesome. This is like, yeah, I like this one. I like this platform. It's great.
I did it all by myself. No, I'm just kidding.
Way to be humble.
Yeah.
So scroll up just a little bit more. There's a book by Chris Attiga, and just scroll up just a bit more. Right there, the unintended consequences of technology. What could possibly go wrong? So I think one of the things that I'm trying to think about, and maybe you guys can help, is how do we take these principles, open, universal, interoperable, technology standardizations, human first, openness, honesty, these types of things. How do we build this kind of ethos, this manifesto, this agreement, kind of like a Hippocratic oath in the industry? So for example, we mint it as an NFT. You get the NFT when you sign saying, I will adhere by these principles. And we get everybody to agree to these. And I just put this as a guideline. This should be an open discussion thing for everybody to do, right? It's not just my brain. It's everybody's brain should contribute to this, and we should make it simple. But something like the Hippocratic Oath, where, doctors have to vow as part of their profession not to do harm. Engineers have to do the same. They have to do an oath. And so maybe it's time that we started to do this with computer scientists, with people creating NFTs, with people creating the future of the internet as we know it. They have more power to harm people than doctors, and at a much, much larger scale. So maybe we need something like a Hippocratic Oath for the tech industry in general, and to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I don't know how to do that. I'm completely open to all the suggestions, but we definitely need some guardrails, because this is only the very, very beginning of where this goes.
I mean, I actually really love that. And I love the fact when you think regulation, you think government. And I'm not thinking about government regulation. I'm thinking about an agreement amongst people that are participating to act in a certain way. And I think that, like this manifesto, you can do that, right? The Hippocratic Oath is an example. The Agile Manifesto is an example. And there's different expressions of how that manifesto appears and comes to life within each individual. However, you've got this thematic bond. And I don't know if it's a seal of approval. I don't know if it's a pathway from one area to another area, but I do think you could go to somebody that knows medicine, that isn't a registered doctor, that didn't do the Hippocratic Oath, and you get what you get when you get it, and hopefully you don't die because you went to go see this witch doctor. However, I think it's important, at least for this community, and the sentiments around decentralization and deregulation, that it's not necessarily this governing body. Unless it's a governing body. It's interesting, when Facebook was coming out with their crypto, they were bringing in 100 companies to say, we will democratically run, I think it was Lyra or Lyra, I forget the name of it specifically. And I think that's a really interesting way to go, so that it's either this DAO or it's some other organization made of the people saying, we are committing to act in a certain way. And it gets away from that word regulation, but it still helps to improve how the conditions are.
Well, I think this is one part of it. We definitely need all of us to just take, like, everybody watching this, there's, I don't know how many people are watching this, but take this, these, just, what are they, 10 principles. Just be, scroll to the very bottom for a second.
Sure.
Zoom in on this, the very bottom last thing, the last point. Don't worry about all the rest of this shit, doesn't matter. The last point is, a little bit up.
You mean this one?
No, keep going up. Yeah, the metaverse is for everyone. Okay, that's it. Use respect and kindness. If we can just kind of skip all the rest of it, if we can act with respect and kindness, that's pretty much all we're talking about here. But stealing people's NFTs, doing that crazy shit, doing scams, that is not acting with respect or kindness at all. And those people that do that, I don't know how we're going to find them and deal with them, but they should be ostracized from this community forever. And frankly, taken out and beaten with a rubber hose. But, we don't have those means anymore. But yeah, we have to fix this. We can't keep building scams where people are losing all their money. Like, I get it. Short-term gains for people, they want to get rich quick, but this is not helping humanity.
Alan, I saw an article where they're mentioning your name next to Mark Zuckerberg, and then you're making this article and you mentioning Mark as well. But one of the points that you in this specific manifesto is you referring to diversity. I know Kelsey is getting excited now, but have you seen this? Again, coming back to the Zuckerberg family. So Randy Zuckerberg, she reckons that NFT is a fantastic way to bring women into crypto.
Yeah, why not?
Amel, you've been quiet. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
There you go. Amel, Randy Zuckerberg, she reckons that NFTs are a fantastic gateway to bring women into crypto. We're talking about diversity now.
Yeah, there are a lot of women founders into the crypto, into the NFT. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity.
Kelsey, what do you think about diversity?
Well, this is my like hot button. I
do know that. Yeah.
I think that she's absolutely right. And I've been saying this since I discovered CryptoKitties. I was at a hackathon, in Waterloo, where it was an Ethereum hackathon. Vitalik was there judging. And I saw these guys, working on something beautiful and colorful, and it really piqued my interest. And I remember like playing with those and minting the very first ones and breeding them and collecting them. And I was like, this is a beautiful way to visualize smart contracts and how this works, and just the idea of digital ownership and digital transfers. And I started incorporating that into all of the keynotes that I did in the future. And I said a great way to explore crypto is to get in through NFT games like CryptoKitties. And I think that Randy she obviously knows what's going on behind the scenes. So, I think she's talking to her brother about his plans and getting excited about, what's going on at Thanksgiving dinner. But I also think that she has a phenomenal history of combining technology and arts. And I think that that's one thing that just makes it a little bit more palatable for women everywhere, is you can visualize what you're getting with NFTs, and there really is that creative aspect. And then the notion of community, I think, is so much more impactful and powerful in NFTs. I know it's been a controversial topic today, but there are some amazing communities that have formed. And women, I find in this space, really step up to help each other. You don't find the same kind of like infighting that I experienced, at L'Oreal or Revlon back in the day. Women really step up and they support each other, and Randy has been like a great example of that. So I can't speak to everything that her brother's got going on, but I think that she's phenomenal.
Well, they keep mentioning Mark next to Alan's name. I think they're trying to steal Alan's thunder. So.
As a matter of fact, from a diversity standpoint, I mean, we're focused on typically XR, the 3D, virtual augmented mixed reality stuff. My wife is our COO at Metaverse, and she runs a program called XR Women, and they meet up every Wednesday in a virtual world. There's over 500 members now. They've done over 50 events, and they get together and they celebrate each other's work. They learn from each other, and they have the largest community in the XR, female community in the XR world. And I think this is a good start where you can have communities of only women helping each other, because it's, as much as having everybody in the community equally, there still needs to be a safe space for women to talk and help each other, because it is a very male dominated world in, NFTs, crypto, XR, technology in general is very male dominated. So I think, if anybody's interested in joining that group, it's xrwomen.com, and they get together every Wednesday at noon Eastern.
Well, first of all, I just want to encourage everybody to connect with our host. You can do that by tapping on the avatars and click connect with them. And again, for the host as well, please do connect between one another. But yeah, Ken, obviously in a big company, in a big corporate organization like Nike, do you feel women bring a different perspective to, strategies, marketing, How do you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really, I've only been at Nike for less than a year. And I remember reading a lot about how Nike was viewed by women, and women were feeling underrepresented. And in the year that I've been there, I haven't seen it. In fact, my leadership team is women, and I think it's not that dissimilar than any other organization where I had men that were in leadership. I think there's a really great respect culture there specifically. I think in my general view, I can say that, and this isn't always, right? Everybody's different. I think it's really about personality, and I think it's about how you view the world as an individual. So I don't know if this is a women-men thing, but I think diverse perspectives from wherever they come from are wildly valuable to creating a comprehensive experience for everybody, especially the target audience that you're going after. And so to say that women specifically and uniquely offer a different strategic view, I think that really is personality based, and I think that every mind should be tapped, and I feel like we've got an inclusive enough environment where every mind is tapped. So again, I'm not trying to say that like women and men are the same and all of that. I know that there are these differences, and I know that there's representation, and I think that if there is representation for everybody, the best thoughts can be out into the ecosystem and bubble up. And as long as you're not eliminating people from that pool of groupthink and creativity, then you're going to be better off. And so not dodging the question to say like, yeah, women offer these great things. I think everybody should be represented and their voices should be heard. And I think I'm in an ecosystem where that does happen, and I'm grateful for it.
Filip, do you have any views?
Yeah, I was just remembering like when I was visiting conferences in Czech Republic where I'm based like a few years ago, there was no women, and when my co-founder was in Lisbon in Web Summit and there were NFT marketplaces all over the place, he said it was crazy, like the number of diversity, the women in the place, it was like really unexpected, at least from my experience before. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting match, and I will definitely read it because it sounds really interesting.
I just want to bring one more news. I mean, there's so many of them that I'd like to cover with you, but obviously we haven't got time. But Reuters written this article that NFT sales hit 25 billion in 2021, but growth shows signs of slowing. What's your opinion on this? Is this some kind of a cycle thing when it goes up, goes down, or do you expect another boom in 2022? Amel, why don't you tell us what you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be booming in 2022. In my point of view, I'm using Polygon, and there are many NFT projects on that network, and I really believe in it. But I think it's going to be more about curated subject, curated NFT marketplace with better quality of NFT. So yeah, I think the market is going to be better in 2022 with better projects.
Yeah, I think that like it should be expected that like these non-utility tokens or NFTs will probably be slowing down, but I think that the 2022 will be a year of utility tokens, where we will finally find some kind of utility for the NFTs. And again, I'm really big a fan of blockchain games, and I have lots of friends there, so I think that and I'm really looking forward to that the hype will go a bit like down, because I'm really afraid that what could happen with that hype, because some NFTs are really like crazy JPEGs and this was just a hype, and you lose a lot of money about it. So I think utility NFTs will be super crazy next year, and I'm super excited about that.
I think I want to add on to Filip's point, because I feel like we need to separate. In this article, they're saying NFT sales, show signs of slowing. I think what they mean is, PFP sales. So things like new PFP profile pic collections. I think those are definitely going to come to a grinding halt. I think existing communities will be able to continue establishing themselves
Come on,
and
Kelsey,
growing.
you don't think we're gonna have a never-ending stream of JPEG images for us? Come on.
I think the idea of digital assets and non-fungible tokens will inevitably grow like crazy. I just don't think that I think all of you guys agree with me. PFPs will keep going. I don't think you'll be able to launch another collection and go wild. I think that piece is definitely fading.
My collection of boardroom apes is ready to go. They got suits on. But that's not cool.
I'm like very done with monkey things. I've seen enough. You know what I mean?
I keep getting Instagram like, join my boardroom and join my this monkeys. I'm like, really? Do we need another monkey thing? Come on. Be a little bit creative. Make it a frog. I don't know.
Well, Eminem is not done with the monkey thing. He just bought it for $500,000.
I think that there's something with the Bored Apes and the NFT, or not NFT, I just called it the NFT halftime show, the Pepsi halftime show. I think they're gonna do something with Bored Apes there because a few of the performers have those and Pepsi's really in, and VaynerMedia does Pepsi stuff. So I think we're gonna see something go on. So Bored Apes, fine, that's like a phenomenon, but I was talking about this with my husband yesterday, who's my business partner, and he was like, it was just luck. Like, it was dumb luck. Nobody knew that was going to take off. If you got it, whatever. It's turned into a community that's now pushing it. But what is it that made it so much more special? I don't know. They got lucky.
Timing. They happened to be in a little bit early. They figured out something that was cool. It became a cultural icon. This is the problem with NFTs. People, there are definite CryptoKitties, CryptoPunks, Bored Apes. These are cultural icons. They're never going away. They're now branded as something like caught in our culture and our society forever. The million spin-offs that came off of each of them, like, who cares? Crypto Cats with a Z, Bored Apes with a Z. Do we need a million spin-offs of this? And this is the problem: is that there are certain ones that will create value, but the greater community, the greater people that are buying these things, they don't know the difference between a Bored Ape or a boardroom ape. And so they just get caught up in it, like, oh, these Bored Apes are worth $1 million, I should buy one. And then, they buy some secondary market piece of crap and they end up with a piece of crap. It's like, there's no way for people to know getting into this. And so I fear that if we continue to sell people crap in an industry that's booming like this, $25 billion in sales, think about that. That's an enormous, if that was a company, it would be one of the largest companies on earth. And now we're sitting here going, what could go wrong when we sell people things they don't really need and don't hold value? So I think, me personally, I predicted this last time I was on the show, and actually several other ones. In the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to see a reckoning where the value of these PFP projects and a bunch of other ones are going to go to zero. Bored Apes will retain their value, all the key ones. Everything else will just go to zero because there's just no value there. The resale value of a secondary NFT that nobody cares about is literally what people are willing to pay for it. And if another sucker isn't really ready to buy it, then you're left holding the bag. And this happened with the ITO craze. People were minting ITOs and ICOs daily, making millions of dollars, and then what happened? It crashed and everybody lost their money. So I think we need this market correction now, quickly, so we can get on with real business. I think it's going to happen in the next few months. But to your point, Kelsey, I think the real value is only just scratching the surface of what's possible. I met some people at CES and they're doing a little NFC tag for clothing, where you can put it inside the clothing, and now when you buy physical clothing, you can track it as an NFT through your sale. If you sell your coat of, maybe it was high-end stuff, but let's say you sell your coat, now they can scan it and say, oh, now I own it, you transfer the ownership. So I think there's a really, we're only at the beginning of brands and physical items being minted as NFTs to track provenance and these
Digital. I'm obsessed with digital.
So Kelsey, where are you based? You're in Canada as well?
Yeah, we met in Toronto a few years
I
back.
know, I remember, but I can't remember where you
But
live.
I'm up in North Bay now.
North
I built
Bay.
a house up here.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I'll have to come visit.
Yeah, for sure. It's super fun. We're trying to create a bit of a tech bubble here. So we'll see how we do in the next few years.
Love it.
I do think on this PFP side, I think there's something really interesting, and I agree that the majority of them will go to zero. But I think what's interesting about Bored Apes is that I think it really was community first, and then it became an expression of that community. And I think there is value, and I think VFriends is following a similar pathway to say, if you're in this, you get access. And again, I'm probably the least qualified to be on this stage. But when people are asking me about these specific things, I think back to when Soho House came on the scene back in the 90s, right? Where
100%.
Sorry?
100%. I was just saying this yesterday.
It's access to community. It's access to hopefully like-minded. I mean, I think in the case of Bored Apes, you're finding people of means, right? There's some liquidity and there's cash, and you can make deals, and you associate there. And I think that's the attractiveness. And it goes back to, if you're doing all of these PFP projects, or you're just putting something up there because it looks cool, that's great. Get it for the art if you like the art. However, if there's no community behind it, there's no access that you're generating, it's gonna eventually fall flat. And I think that's where the future goes. And I have to add that when I think about NFTs, I think about this as the exploratory phase of NFTs, right? Where we're trying to say, here's these things that we're putting out there, these digital representations, and we're trying to figure out, what does utility really mean? Because utility isn't necessarily staking. I think there is that form of utility, but I think utility is, how do I become an identity out there in the metaverse, and how do I take that identity with me, and how do I share it with select people, and how does it make my life better and easier? And maybe my medical records are there, or maybe my car lease is there, and I'm able to transfer these things because it's associated to my digital identity, and that includes access to a club. But I agree, like I said, PFPs, I think they're eventually going to go to zero. However, I think that there are some that represent access, and that will thrive.
One of the things about Bored Apes, if you read the contract, if you buy an NBA Top Shot, for example, you have no rights to do anything with the thing. You're literally just, I don't even know what you're buying, to be honest. You're just buying a collectible because you can't resell it. I can't go to a television station now. I own this 30-second video clip. Now I'm going to sell it to you. You can't do that. You have zero rights. With Bored Apes, you can take the ape, you can use it as the logo for your company. You have full rights to use that. And you have access to this community that's doing cool shit. That's really, they created real value. They didn't just say, here's a JPEG, good luck. They were community first. And this is what I think people miss. They want to get rich quick. They're like, oh, and there's even a thing, oh my God, I saw the other day. It was like NFT generator. You click a button, it would generate you 10,000 unique whatever. I was like, shoot me now. So, can I share my screen for a second? Sean? Is it possible? I want to show you guys our mall because I think it will like
Sean's on mute.
It's okay. I think he's going to let me do it here. Tap to share screen.
Sorry, Alan.
Oh, I can't do it.
If you can, yeah, you can.
No,
If you put the headphones on, because you're causing echo at the moment.
Yeah, but I can't because I have to be in the computer, so it's okay.
No worries.
I can't share it from my phone. Never mind. It's okay. We'll have to
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
out how to share a
yeah.
screen from the phone.
All right, then. If you don't mind, just mute yourself for a second, because it's causing echo. Yeah. I've just found out, my technical guy said that everyone's wearing headphones, but if somebody doesn't, it's causing an echo. Anyway, David, hi. Welcome. What do you think about our host? Come to the stage a little bit. Come close to
Sean.
me, Dave.
Yeah, I'm sitting in one of the seats. I think it's a great talk. I mean, it's really cool to understand everyone's perspectives. NFTs back in 2017 when Axiom's End, now Dapper Labs, launched CryptoKitties. It wasn't really about the kitties and it wasn't really about the game. It was about helping people understand blockchain through gamification and characters and cute things, right? Because we were never really able to explain blockchain to people who didn't care about it, right? Like my wife, no matter how much I try to explain to her, she just like whatever, like turn on the volume on the TV or something, right? Or go talk to your phone, right? To your, tech friends. But what they did with the kitties was like, hey, using the, entropy and generative, capacities of blockchain, you could breed kitties, right? And you could create value in these digital assets that you could actually own. But it's the same as, Bitcoin or Ethereum and all that stuff. But no one really cared about that until the cats came. But then the problem with the cats were they broke the network, right? And so all the people in the industry, we were all worried that, we're trying to do business and we're trying to sell stuff to banks and trying to get them to, do all this stuff on blockchain and do, Visa payments. And they're like, well, we hear about these cats that are breaking the network. How could we do it, right? And so, I think there was a big revolution there from NFTs. I tried to talk about NFTs to people in 2017 and 2018, but no one cared because they didn't understand. But then I think it's a great revolution now that, we're here. There's real cool stuff. PFPs, I was never really a fan, but I think it's kind of cool because, Alan mentioned, you have that sort of ownership, you have that copyright, use it as your logo, do as you speak. Timberland making, a music company for apes, right? And I think that's kind of cool, and it's really, kind of nostalgic as well too, right? Because who would have thought that you bring apes together and create a band? But it's not going to happen again, right? It's one time, I think. It's really, how are we going to use these NFTs for utility or transfer of value, managing assets, etc. So I think that's my point of view. I think it's really cool to get everyone else's opinion on it, and love hearing. Yeah.
David, you got to come up on the stage, man. Just stand up next to me. There you go.
Come here, Dave.
Come on. I was trying to move out of the way and I closed the whole thing.
Come on, yeah.
There you go. Maybe tell people your previous role, David.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not just a pretty pixeled face.
Yeah. So David Ham. I've been sort of kind of meddling in the blockchain space since about 2010. I heard about Bitcoin. I was really intrigued. I read the Satoshi white paper and I thought, this is crazy. The technology is pretty cool. So I sort of followed it all the way through. A few years back, I did a bunch of startups in blockchain when no one really cared and everyone thought it was a scam, but I guess a little too early. I led Samsung's blockchain program in Korea for a number of years. And it's pretty amazing because at the time in Korea, no one knew what blockchain was. No one really cared. But, the number one company in the country was all of a sudden saying, hey, this is a new digital age and this is the new technology that's going to, change things. So we tried to do a lot of things, and Samsung is still running a great program. But what Samsung's doing great right now is actually investing in a lot of good blockchain companies. So I left to do public blockchain because I didn't think enterprise was really solving blockchain. And now I consult, help projects, still make some fun NFT projects so that our team can learn. I guess that's where I am. Yeah.
David, can you send me a quick email so we're connected? Alan@metaverse.com.
Yeah, I will.
All right. I need your help with our mall. We're trying to figure it all out right now.
Yeah, I think it's really cool right now.
A very cool project, actually, also an NFT project. I don't know, maybe just briefly say a few words about that, because I really like the idea behind it.
Yeah, we have a project called EtherBucks. It was really just a learning experience really for our team, but instead of PFPs, we created these sort of digital currency notes that look like dollar bills, and each of the dollar bills represent one ETH, and they actually represent a day that Ether was traded, right? So starting from the first day that Ether was ever traded to October 31st of last year, because that's when we did the artwork up to. But every single NFT represents a day. It has a price of 1 Ether in USD, transaction volume all from CoinMarketCap. And basically, the reason why we did it was we said everyone remembers a day when they bought Ether. Either they bought it at $2 and it changed their life because they got rich, or they bought it at $500 and it crashed back down to 200 and they got wrecked, right? But we all have a memorable day, and we thought that Ethereum is also impactful because widely held. It's also sort of the birth of NFTs with ERC 721. I mean, obviously Bitcoin color coins were there before, but still, making it mainstream. So this is why we created EtherBucks, right? And so there's a whole bunch of cool stuff around it, but that's kind of, the gist of it, right? So it's a cool, fun sort of collection that we made. We did a real good job making it and planning it, but we're all makers. We're not marketers, right? We're not like big community guys.
I'll help you with that side. We'll help each other. We'll make it rain in EtherBucks.
Yeah. So we started to learn about that, right? I mean, I'm learning Discord and I don't really like it. But it's tough. I'd rather just tweet a few times here and there, or I'd rather just make a phone call. You know what I mean? So it's I guess maybe I'm kind of out of touch with the way the community is building. But the reason why we created NFTs is because we consult people, and we've been telling people about NFTs for a long time. But I think I told Sean this. So I asked my team, when was the last time we created a collection? And everyone sat there with a blank face. And I said, so as consultants, we're now liars to our clients because we never created a collection. So that's why we created EtherBucks, right? So that we could actually now be smart about it and say, hey, look, we did this. We weren't successful. We did this. We are good at it. And the things that we didn't do, maybe we could help you do better, right? So for us, again, still being a dinosaur from 2010 in blockchain, we're still learning, right? So I think that's what's great about this industry, because people get smarter, technology gets better, and we follow, and perhaps we develop, right? And so yeah, there's my sort of thing. I sort of get going when we talk about it, but I mean, I'd love to hear what other people think, because I think a certain way. I still have to learn. I don't know it all, right? I only got here by learning it, right? So
Dave, I'd love to be at Amel's birthday party today, but I wasn't even invited. And by the way, do you know this stage is now capitalized by the Canadians? We've got 3 Canadians on the stage.
Canadian as well, so.
Yeah. So, what's it like to feel like minority? Amel, and Filip, we are completely buggered right now.
There's a lot of innovation coming out of Canada, for sure. I think it has something to do with the fact that it snows for 8 months of the year and it's just cold, so people just get to work.
Yeah, it's like minus 32 today where I am. So, just gonna hunker down by the fire and build things.
My mother used to live in Edmonton and it'd be like minus 45. So I'm like, what are you doing there? That's crazy.
I can't do that. Yeah.
I'm
from Vancouver, so
I'm just outside of LA right now. So I got out of Canada when they locked us down. I was like, I'm leaving if I get COVID or not, which I got COVID obviously. So it was a risk I was willing to take. Now I'm stuck. It's terrible, but I'm stuck by the ocean, watching beautiful sunsets. I'd rather be quarantined here.
I'm about to cry
terrible.
For you. It's terrible. Jeez, how do you bear that? Listen, guys, we went slightly over the time that we had. I don't know. I just want to thank everyone for your input. Filip, Ken, Kelsey, Amel, Alem, Dave, thanks for coming on the stage. If anybody in the audience wants to come up and ask any questions real quick, please press that stage button now. Otherwise, I'm going to let people go and enjoy their Friday. I feel like John Travolta myself. I'm gonna go have my pint. So, anybody wants to jump?
I have a suggestion for the product, actually. When I click someone's head, I should be able to send them a little quick chat.
That's a very good suggestion. Thanks, Alan. I'm making a note right now. You know, this is the thing about you. You know a lot about creative human experience, don't you?
I've been building creator tools for the last more than a decade, yeah.
Just comes naturally to you. Amazing.
No, there's nothing that comes natural. We made all the mistakes. I don't think anybody here can say that any of this comes natural, because you work very hard at something and then it fails. You're like, oh, don't do that. So I think all of us have had, I can't speak for everybody, but I've had spectacular failures. And, you know, through those experiences, you learn what works, what doesn't work. But I think the key for all of this, no matter whether you're making an NFT, you're making a blockchain, you're making XR, whatever it is, the key to all of it is, this is to serve the customers and humanity and our fellow people. This is not to serve just making some quick bucks. And if you look at look at everything you're building through the eyes of the user and how does it make their life better, then you'll be successful. Otherwise, you'll just be a flash in the pan and make a quick buck, and then everybody will forget about you, and nobody cares.
Alan, you've made a lot of mistakes in your life by the sounds of it, but the biggest mistake you've made is buying those bunnies for your daughters. Huh? They now poop all over your place. I've seen it. So sort that out.
I did get a bunny, and yes, it is now a rabbit, and they should not be in a house. They should be outside. My dad goes, "You got livestock in the house?"
Yeah. All right, guys, I just want to wish you a fantastic weekend. Thank you very much for everything, for all the inputs. I will stay in touch. I hope to welcome you back on this stage, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bon
you.
weekend. Merci
Bye-bye.
beaucoup.
Happy New Year.
Happy
And
birthday.
yeah,
Happy New Year,
birthday
everybody.
as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.